Hello everybody, Christina here, and today we're going to be changing things up just a little bit. I used to have a little artist face cam that I had in the corner of my videos, but some people have been kind of confused about why my narration isn't talking at the same time as my face cam, and there's just been some confusion, even though some people really wanted to see what I looked like while I was drawing. It kind of just adds another step to the production process, and since it's confusing some people, I think we're just going to phase this artist face cam out a little bit, and instead you'll get my adorable face actually talking straight to you while you watch my time-lapsed video behind me. So with that being said, this week we are drawing some Dreamscaper fan art, and for those of you who aren't familiar, Dreamscaper is a roguelike lucid dreaming game, and it's very unique. I feel I don't play a lot of video games, but I feel it's super unique because you have two worlds in the game: the waking world, where you make gifts and talk to different people in the world to befriend them and learn more about their lives and learn more about the main character, Cassidy. And then you have the dream world, where some of those friendships help you gain abilities and stuff like that as you traverse the different levels of Cassidy's dreams. And you can also find memories in the dreams and all sorts of different stuff. And for someone like me who suffers from adult nightmares, the game really gives me a little bit of an outlet and very much speaks to my experiences, because my dreams are always trying to tell me what mental health issue to work on next. So with that being said, I really love Dreamscaper. It's a video game, it's on Steam. I think I only paid 20 bucks for it. It's a little bit early in production. It's not in beta or anything like that, but they're always coming out with new updates with new levels and characters to meet and all sorts of good stuff. They had a cool Halloween update that I absolutely loved. And so I waste a lot of time with Dreamscaper, and when I looked out into the interwebs to see what kind of art other people maybe have created as like fan art for the game, I really didn't find a whole lot, which is unfortunate. So I thought that I would put some of my art out there because I really love the game and I think it deserves some recognition. So that being said, let's talk about the actual drawing that I did. The inspiration for this piece is a fairy tarot card that I saw online long time ago. It was this depiction of a male fairy with a bunch of skulls and this flowing I don't know what you would call it, like his magic was flowing around him and it kind of went outside the lines of the card a little bit, and I just thought I'd put my own spin on that and then add some Dreamscaper to it. So I started with a raw edge, natural edge paper that I wanted to put this card on, and I just found this paper on the free stock site Pexels.com. It's really a useful resource for me, and it just gave me a good base to start with. And then started drawing in red. Red seems to be a really easy color to do your initial sketch with when you're drawing digitally, because then it stands out rather than blending in with your grayscale layers and your color layers and all that. But if you just draw in red right away, it stands out, you can see it, you can see what you still need to add to a piece, etc. So that's what I did here. And then obviously I had to kind of come up with my own design here, which is not necessarily my strong suit. I haven't taken any courses on design or art in general, which kind of puts me at a disadvantage, but I really love this piece. And so I decided to make Cassidy's scarf which is something that really trails behind you in the dream world in the game. The scarf really stood out to me, so I ended up making that be the thing that kind of goes out of the lines on this card. And in the background, I gave her some kind of fairy light kind of things. These like ball lights are what hangs in Cassidy's room in the waking world in the game. And as she moves into her apartment, they get put up around her bed and that sort of thing. So I wanted to include those in the background. And they were a little bit tricky, just trying to make sure that they're all round and that they weren't too stark compared to Cassidy in the foreground, because if they were really like crazy round and cartoony and not matching with the rest of the piece, it would be really tragic. But I think I figured it out on this one. I used a little bit of value painting techniques, and I ended up using just a lot of yellows and oranges to make the lights kind of have that light effect. I have no words for this, but lights, you know, kind of like start very, very bright in the middle and then go outward, and that's what I was trying to achieve here. Cassidy in the game doesn't have a face, and I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit because I think that that's really symbolic in a lot of ways. I don't know exactly why the game developers decided to design her that way, or if it's just the style of the game, but the way I feel about it is Cassidy maybe doesn't have a face so that anyone could really relate to her. That's possible. I know that I relate to her a lot, and I really love that her character design is on the heavier side. She definitely has some curves to her, and she's very beautiful, but she is a little more wide set like I am, and I really enjoy that kind of representation. But as far as her being faceless goes, the other thing is, like, I wonder if she's maybe like stripped of her individuality a little bit because of all the fears that she has and all of the nightmares that she's going through. And so I thought that was really intriguing, if you will. But maybe I'm just reading more into it than I need to, but I thought it was cool. Okay, moving on. So I tried value painting again in this piece. If you've been following along on my videos, you know I've been kind of playing with this technique and trying to figure it out. And I think I'm getting the hang of it, especially with this piece. It turned out really well, and it lent well to the subject, I think, which is really cool. I think that the tarot card direction that I went with this definitely is more painting-esque, and so that kind of roughness of the value painting that I've been doing really lends itself well, I hope. Like I said, I'm really proud of this piece, so I really don't have any qualms with it. I did add light in the black and white layer underneath the color towards the end of drawing this, and I wanted to kind of explain that a little bit because I was basically working on a layer that was underneath what you're seeing, and so that's what happens when I'm adding the white parts into the color layer at the end of this video. Is I'm actually drawing in white on the black and white layer underneath, and that basically just lightens up whatever's on that color layer because I use the overlay mode like I talked about in my last video about burgers, and that just makes it lighten up. And so I was able to go from those very white portions and move the light outward as well a little bit and lighten up the space around those highlights, which was really cool. And it also lent itself well to Dreamscaper, which the game is designed with a lot of very bright light accents and highlights, whereas the world itself is very dark and dark colored. There's a lot of light going on in the magic that Cassidy does and the dreamlike quality that the world has, which is really cool. I also redid the ring around Cassidy's middle. For those of you who haven't played the game, whenever Cassidy dies in the dream world and has to come back to the waking world, she kind of rises up in the air and there's this little explosion and then she wakes up. And so that's what I was trying to represent with that ring around her middle, and really make that little explosion come to life as if she's in the middle of waking up again. At the very end, I tried to make the border a little bit more of a natural edge so that it kind of made a little more sense with the natural edge paper that I chose for this. And I think it turned out pretty well. I played with some blending options and stuff that I'm not 100% on, but I think the overall design worked out really awesome, and I'm not gonna complain about it by any means. And lastly, I just want to talk about, you'll see me very quickly here flip the canvas. And this is something that digital artists do a lot, because if you flip the canvas so that it's backwards compared to how you've been working on it, your brain is forced to look at it a different way and kind of go, oh, that thing doesn't look right, or those proportions are totally wrong, or what have you, and your brain is forced to look at it differently and will see the little mistakes that you make. This is something that I have to get in the habit of early on in the piece, because it's not something that I did until the very end, and when I flipped it, I saw a couple of things that I didn't love, but they weren't absolutely detrimental to the entire thing. So I left them in there, and that's just something that is a little bit new on the channel, and I wanted to talk about it and kind of let you guys know what I was thinking when I did that. Otherwise, I really love how this piece turned out, and I don't think I'd really change anything on it. We'll see how I grow as an artist going forward, and maybe I'll do a renewed version of it at some point, but I really like how I designed it. The background was kind of that murky darkness, like I talked about the dream world being in the game. I think it's a very good representation of the game, and I think the whole card itself is very much a beautiful piece, and I would put that on my wall. And so I really enjoyed doing this one. Obviously, I love Dreamscaper, and I very much suggest it for you guys that are maybe looking for a Christmas present for a gamer in your life or something like that. It's not a super expensive game, and you can burn a lot of time on it. It's really, really fun. So with that being said, Dreamscaper is not a sponsor, but would be great if they were. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I want to thank my patrons. I have 3 now, which is really, really exciting. Mark, Nathaniel, and Liam, thank you so much for your support. It really means the world to me, and it means that I can keep making videos. If you would like to support me as well, please check me out on Patreon at ubdraws, and if you can't support me monetarily, please follow me on social medias, again at ubdraws. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that good stuff. Please check me out there, and I will probably see you guys next Wednesday. If you become a patron, I'll see you on Thursday, tomorrow. I know my days of the week. Anyway, have a good one, and I will talk to you soon.